Okay, hi everyone. This is Jess and Leela doing our
Arts Integration
podcast. All right, take it away, Jess.
So hi, I'm Jess. So we did a really cool Arts Integration looking at the geometric concept of congruent triangles through abstract, not expressionism, but sort of like abstract geometry in the 1970s, sometimes called color field painting. And we looked at some student work. We looked at some established painters first and kind of analyzed some painting, and then students used the concept of congruent triangles to create their own compositions, working in teams of two.
Or individually. Some of them chose to work independently.
Yeah, so we wanted to share a little bit of so these are some of our work samples. We talked about a variety of materials, and so this is one of the samples. This is the team of Juno and Heidi Scovia. This title of this artwork is called Geeked versus Locked in Chicken Turkey. They said that they had a little of over 10 similar triangles, and they were interested in the idea of making a chicken turkey. So they wanted to be viewed this way, which is at a face. This is from the artist. I think it was fun to see them kind of take on the math aspects, but also really get into the art making. They struggled with the star, getting the points to be congruent. That was fun. This is an artwork by King River Haro Jr. III and Miguelito Rodriguez called Color Wheel Hexagon. They said...
by the way, Jess is reading the artist statement, which I actually stapled to the back so that I wouldn't lose them. So
yeah, and their prompt is asking them who the artists are, what the title of the work is, the number of similar congruent triangles, and their minimum was 6. So we asked them for 3 pairs of 2 or
or 2
pairs of 3.
Yeah, something like that.
But when we analyzed some of the artists' work in the slideshow that we shared with the students, there were some artworks with up to 100 triangles.
Yes.
And I think the students really figured that out quickly and then realized they could kind of make some more complex compositions. So this one was relatively complex, and they had 20 congruent triangles. But in terms of complexity, this team, this is the team of Roman and Yosef, which they titled this work Congruent Trinity. They said they had 48 similar triangles. And what I really like about this group is actually mathematically, they spent a lot of time analyzing the colors and which color was for each pair. So even though the work is a little complex, maybe from the outside, they specifically considered what they wanted color-wise and pattern-wise so that they were visually clear to us when we were looking at them, which I thought was really neat.
And then maybe I can do this one because this is my favorite because for a different reason. So this is the team of Moav and Sophia. And the reason I really like this one is that this is a pair that actually started out not talking to each other. Jess and I both spoke to them separately, and then they ended up coming up with this piece, which I think is lovely. They called it color wheel rearranging. And the reason they called it that is because they decided to represent the color wheel. So do you want to speak a little bit of the color wheel, and then maybe we can end? Oh, there's one more.
Yeah, we talked to the students about kind of the importance of thinking about a color palette, and they watched a video on how artists use color kind of intentionally, looking at the color wheel to communicate emotion, but also analyzing the relationship between where colors are with each other on the wheel.
Go past the slide, then at the next one, turn right.
And there we are. There's our directions. So it was kind of neat to see them because communication was a real challenge for this group. And it looked like once they kind of figured out what their goal was, they were able to sort of work almost like parallel play, where they were working together side by side, but not necessarily talking to each other, but they had a shared vision. I think that was a really interesting way to see this come to life, and the painting is lovely. And then our final thing that we want to share with you, this is the only one I think that actually this team worked to create an actual representation of a landscape.
So this is Diego Cuevas and Alira, and they called it Ocean Breeze. And they say they have 9 congruent triangles, and so what Jess said.
Yeah, I mean, they spoke with me about how they wanted to have a boat in the water with mountains in the background. I'm not sure if you can see it on camera. I'm going to hold it back a little bit further. But if you look further back, there are these representations of green mountains and then these green sort of hill things. This is a boat up here, and then they have these sort of representations of waves. And I mean, they really thought about.
And they even have a little shark, so.
Yeah, and a
Yeah.
tiny shark in the water. So
And
they
s-
were thinking about the narrative and the mathematical requirements, and also using the shapes. And I think that was like very, to me, this is a very advanced. I thought this approach was quite advanced, and they had a lot of fun doing this too. So it was fun to see them doing it. All told, though, this is our second year doing this collaboration. I think this was even more successful.
Yeah, they really enjoy it. I did give them a short survey at the end, and for the most part, they were 4s and 5s, in terms of how much they enjoyed it, what they got out of it mathematically, and what they got out of it artistically.
Yeah, and it didn't seem like they needed a ton of skills, although quite a few of the students are in the art pathway, which was nice, so they at least knew how to use the materials. But that didn't seem to hinder the students who aren't artists, didn't seem in any way put out by the lack of experience with the materials. They really understood the math this year. Altogether, really fun to do and would revisit again. Bye, everyone.
And then I have these artifacts with me if anyone wants to look at them more closely. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Jess, for doing this.
Thank you, Leela. All right, see you next time.